Hello everyone, this is Soviet Russian Bear, and right now I'm gonna hit you with this article from the Duran. It's called Where Are Moscow's Potholes by James Bradley, published on October 23rd, 2016. So it's a month old article, but nevertheless very interesting and insightful. So here we go. The Western image of Moscow and Russia as violent and impoverished is a fantasy. Moscow is actually a very safe, well-run and orderly city, which compares very well with the great cities of the West. 3 weeks ago, I flew from New York's JFK airport to Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport. I wondered what was in store for me. In, in his 2015 State of the Union address, President Obama had told us that today it is America that stands strong and united with our allies, while Russia is isolated with its economy in tatters. Sheremetyevo Airport was a pleasant surprise. Unlike the turmoil at JFK, it was quiet and efficient. My bags arrived promptly. There was only one person in front of me in the customs line, and there was no inspection of my baggage. Best of all, there were no TSA-like agents yelling commands as in American airports. Using the airport's free Wi-Fi, I opened my Uber app and the sleek BMW arrived with something I had never experienced: free Wi-Fi. So this is Russia, I thought as we zoomed past birch forests and factories. Soon we were in typical slow metropolitan traffic. My eyes scanned the road and I noticed something very different from New York. There were no potholes. Driving to JFK a day earlier was the usual exercise of dodging holes and lumpy asphalt. Yet this supposedly tattered economy didn't present one pothole on entire ride into town. Traveling around Moscow for the next 3 weeks was an eye-opener. While strolling down wide and clean pedestrian-friendly sidewalks, original art suddenly appeared decorating the side of buildings. The parks are clean, and green statues of literally figures are sprinkled around town, and the mayor has erected whimsical archways featuring a happy sun's face along the word Moscow. This supposed tattered economy looks pretty healthy from its capital. On my first evening, I walked into the one restaurant to be told I would have to wait an hour. I went to a restaurant down the street and they said 1.5 hours. The people on the street are well dressed and walking briskly to jobs and appointments as sturdy Skoda, BMW, Mercedes-Benz and Audi car whisk by. One day, I walked into a hair salon for a haircut. The receptionist asked, "Now?" "Yes," I answered. He studied his computer screen with a furrowed brow. Even though there were 7 hairstylists working, he said, the wait would be 1.5 hours. I said fine, gave him my name and said I'll take a walk around the block. I then came across another hair salon with 5 stylists. They said the wait would be 1 hour. I was in Moscow to interview a wide variety of Russian academics, writers, TV personalities, business people, and others. They lived and worked all over the city, and I spent hours in taxis. I became obsessed in my search for potholes. Over the last 2 years, I had spent over $1,200 replacing my car's tires and rims after violent encounters with New York's pockmarked roads. I kept my eyes peeled, but from residential areas to industrial parks to the city center to the suburban fringes, I failed to find a single pothole. In New York, the excuse for the great red roads is the terrible winters. But Moscow's winters are more brutal, but their roads are as smooth as silk. An economy in tatters? It's true that Moscow doesn't represent all of Russia, but neither does New York represent all of the United States. I grew up reading inaccurate over the top Soviet propaganda about the United States. Now I wonder what about American propaganda regarding Russia. Maybe America's big city transportation authorities should take a trip to Moscow and text photos from Wi-Fi enabled taxis back to their co-workers about how a rough winter city maintains their excellent infrastructure, and maybe we Americans should start challenging our leaders' constant drumbeat of erroneous and negative views of Russia. James Bradley is a New York Times #1 best-selling author of 4 books. His opinion pieces have been published in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and many other newspapers. James has spoken to audiences and appeared on TV and radio across the US, China, Russia, Japan, France, Germany, the UK, and other countries. More at jamesbradley.com. Okay, so let's read some comments. Uh, Anne writes from a month ago. I was in St. Petersburg for 9 days, end of May, beginning of June 2016. I arrived from Helsinki by boat. From the port to our hotel near the Nevsky Prospect, not one pothole, not one street patched up. I could not believe my eyes. Streets are spotless, no trash to be seen anywhere. Late at night, I saw the city workers washing the streets and sidewalks. During my stay, I crisscrossed the city on foot, used the bus, the subway, saw a beautiful and vibrant city. The Russians are stylish, energetic and smart. There seems to be a tremendous pride in their city. Bathrooms in public places and small restaurants are as clean as those of a five-star hotel. Restaurants are stylish and there are always seems to be a wait list. I felt very safe going everywhere and walking back to my hotel very late at night. I have visited many times the great cities of Western Europe, and I felt that St. Petersburg was definitely a notch above them all. It was the trip of a lifetime. If is what failing economy and corruption looks like in the Russia led by President V. Putin, then we need some of it here in my wealthy city of Houston, Texas. Well, the comments speak for themselves. I just, I'm gonna just tell to my Western viewers, don't believe anything mainstream media says about Russia. And I also advise more people from the West to travel to Russia and see it for yourself. Well, I think that is all. Soviet Bear out. Peace to every one of you.